Hey, what's going on? My name is Avi. Thank you so much for joining me for another installment of Six Pack Abs Secrets and Myths Uncensored. Today, I want to debunk the myth that as long as you're eating whole foods, you can eat as much as you want. I've seen this online quite a bit in random circles that people are like, oh yeah, like if you're eating strawberries versus Twinkies or you're eating cabbage versus Kit Kats, it's like as long as you're eating all whole foods, your body will just naturally know when to stop and it's impossible to overeat. This is just absolutely fucking bullshit. At the end of the day, it's still calories in, calories out. Now, I have made previous videos in the Six Pack Abs Secrets and Myths Uncensored series talking about how, in general, whole foods are going to make it way fucking easier for you to sustainably lose weight. Not least of which because you're going to be way more psychologically satisfied. Whole foods tend to be higher volume and for the same amount of calories, which is going to make your gut feel fuller. And that's also going to contribute to a psychological sense of satiation. Not to mention that whole foods tend to have more protein, which has a higher thermogenic effect of food, more fiber, which means more of your food's going to end up in the toilet than around the waistline, and omega-3s, which are preferentially used for cognitive function as opposed to burning for energy like omega-6s and other forms of fatty acids. So all that adds up to the fact that whole foods, generally because they have more of those three things, protein, fiber, omega-3s, you're just generally going to absorb less of the calories compared to the same amount of calories, but with Twinkies, right? Or some, I don't mean to pick on Twinkies, but some form of processed food. So in other words, you have 2,400 calories of Twinkies versus 2,400 calories of a balanced diet that's consisting of lean meats, vegetables, fruits, eggs, etc. That 2,400 calories, a lot less of it's actually going to be absorbed with the whole foods diet, which is going to make weight loss way fucking easier. Now, that said, does that mean that if you're eating all whole foods, there's something magical about whole foods and that you're just never going to overeat? No, that's not true. Especially, I can tell you, for me, I fucking love whole foods. And I'm not a world-class chef by any means, but I'm a decent enough chef to make food that, by my own assessment, is delicious. And that's actually kind of problematic because if I'm making really good food, well, that makes it easy to binge on the food and overeat. So even if I'm making all whole foods, doesn't mean there's something magical about that that's going to prevent me from gaining weight. At the end of the day, it is still calories in, calories out. However many calories I absorb minus the amount of calories I burn, that's going to tell me the other end of that equation, which is going to be, do I gain weight? Do I lose weight? Do I maintain weight? So of course, whole foods in general, going to be advantageous for your weight loss efforts, but it doesn't give you this get out of jail free card or this magical pass where you can just eat as much of it as you want and never overeat, never gain weight, and everything's just going to be hunky-dory happily ever after because you're eating all whole foods. It will make it easier to adhere to your diet, and I would also argue that when you're eating all whole foods or mostly whole foods, if you did not track calories, generally speaking, you are going to tend to eat less than if you were just eating like more processed foods. And there's actually been studies done on that. I've heard about that in Huberman podcast, that when they allow groups of people to eat however much they want, but it's all whole foods versus however much they want, but it's mostly processed foods, when you just kind of let people do, like they just stop eating on their own volition, like whenever they just kind of want to stop eating, when it's all whole foods, the amount of calories ends up being less, right? When you just let people do what they actually want to do on their own volition. If they're eating all whole foods, they're going to still eat a lot of food, but it's going to be less than if you just let them do all processed foods. I think the difference was somewhere around 500 calories a day, which is fucking huge. Like that is super duper substantial, right? 500 calories a day. That's literally about a pound of fat difference a week. So all that to say, yeah, whole foods does not give you a magical pass. There's not something about whole foods that puts down some invisible force field that like once you've gotten to your maintenance amount of calories for the day, it will just like restrict your hand and you can no longer bring food from your hand to your mouth. No, that will not happen. You still have to be mindful. In my opinion, if you are actually trying to lose weight and you're doing it in a methodical manner, you do have to track calories or you got to track something. I mean, you don't have to. Obviously, there are people who lose weight without doing that. But if you want to be scientific, if you want to get a consistent amount of weight loss per week or per month or just over some unit of time, it is going to greatly behoove you to track your calories and be consistent with that, right? So yeah, all that to say, like, whole foods, generally a good thing, but I still wouldn't advise the approach of just kind of eat whatever the fuck you want and don't track it. Like, that's probably not going to produce the results you're looking for if you're actually trying to maintain weight, maintain a healthy weight if you're already at a healthy weight, or if you're trying to lose weight to get to a healthy weight. It's just not the best approach. Generally, the best approach is going to be to measure the calories of what you eat, or even better, in my opinion, over time, is you just kind of get a sense for like how many calories are in like a portion of something, and you can just kind of eyeball it. That's what I do to kind of manage my weight. Everyone's different though, but I think the most important takeaway from this is just don't delude yourself into thinking that because you're eating whole foods, you can kind of just eat as much as you want and your body's just not gonna gain weight magically. Like, that's just a fucking lie. Like, whole foods are good. They're gonna help you out. It's gonna make your journey easier, but you still gotta be mindful. You still gotta put in the effort. And honestly, if you're trying to get consistent, measured, if you're trying to get consistent numbers or results, consistent results in terms of numbers from week to week, you still gotta fucking track your calories, whether you're eating strawberries or Twinkies. So just my 2 cents on the whole thing. Take it or leave it, doesn't really fucking matter. I think you should do whatever works for you. And frankly, what I think doesn't matter that much. All that matters is that you're doing what is helping you get where you want to go, and you're feeling good about it. You're feeling empowered. You're feeling confident. You're feeling safe and secure and peaceful. If you like this video, please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more content. We got more coming out all the time. Enjoy the beautiful sunset. Hopefully you got one going on where you're at. Be peaceful. Tell the people in your life that you love them. Share an ordinary moment with them, man. Share an ordinary laugh, a hug. It's the ordinary shit in life that's the best, in my opinion. I think the ordinary stuff happens the most because it is the most important. All right, I think that's it for today. Hope you liked it. Have a great one, and until next time, peace.